Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. It's episode 217. I think that's right. I think it's 217. I'm Mike Milan, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is my friend and my partner, my podcast partner, Blaine Birch from Dry Run. What's up, man?
I am enjoying the first few sips of this beer today. It's been a long day. It's just been busy. Just go. And then I just had a little taste of this beer. I'm like, oh shit, this is good. This is nice. Nice to relax and have a resident culture, which is a really good brewery. I love these guys. So I'll show you which beer in a couple minutes too.
How come every time I try to just relax into the end of the year, it gets flooded with stuff? Flooded.
Yeah, it's. I keep saying I should say I keep telling everyone it'll slow down after December 15th. We're not there yet, but I'm not sure it's going to slow down that much. It just somehow doesn't seem to be. But well, whatever. People are chomping at the bit.
What? I did a cooperative presentation for another coach today where she brought in like 4 other coaches over the last month, kind of a series. And I thought it was an hour. It was 2 hours. Look, good thing I had enough. I always over prepare. So it's not like I can't expand something in 2 hours, but yeah, I didn't know I was going to be in this chair for 2 hours. That was the problem.
That's a long time to sit without moving. We were at a concert on the weekend, Heather and I, and it was floor. Like, it's a smaller venue. You're standing on concrete floor. We went early to try and get close to the front. So we were just like one row back from the stage. Well, I think we stood for a total of probably 4 hours at least in one spot on concrete without moving, because you don't want to lose your spot because it was jammed. It was absolutely slammed in there. Really great show. But we were both basically limping to the car. Our feet hurt, legs hurt, back hurt. It was just brutal. Like, holy shit, I'm getting old.
Courtney still won't let me pick a concert because we were in New Orleans and I'm just looking at things to do in New Orleans tonight. I'm going, holy shit, George Clinton and P-Funk Psychedelic is in town. And it was like nice. Ridiculously low price. I'm like, oh, let's go. We go. It's one of those places. I mean, you would know the name. It's not Hard Rock Cafe, some other type of juke joint type place, but it's a well-known place. Maybe it was Hard Rock. I don't know. But yeah, it's still one of those places like you're describing. The bars are on the outside of the dance floor, I guess, but it's not a dance floor. It's a concrete floor just sitting there, and George Clinton them right in front of you, right? Like, we're about as close as I could be to anybody, So yeah. I only want to really hear a couple songs. Now, it was a 5-hour concert, and the only song I wanted to hear was Atomic Dog, really. And they played that one last, of course, absolute last. And I'm like, okay, after 3 minutes, I'm good with Atomic Dog. After 40 minutes, I think, it seemed like 40 minutes, I didn't like the song anymore. I'm like, oh, shit, I don't even like the song anymore. I don't even know if I like him. He didn't even get out of he didn't even stand up because he's older, right? Because we just did this in the last 5 years. And he was in a chair the whole time. He just sang from a chair the whole time. So she would not let me pick a concert anymore because of that.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess you earned that. At least the show was great. We really enjoyed the show, so that was pretty awesome.
They sounded great. I'm glad I got to see him live one time in my life, right? Even if it was that. But my legs were so stiff, my knees hurt, the bottoms of my feet hurt from standing on concrete for 5 hours straight. It was terrible. So one of these days, I'm going to buy my way back into being able to pick a concert, which means I'll just go buy a ticket and say, hey, you want to go to a concert? So I get to pick again.
We lost our concert privilege rights with our friends when we suggested a concert last fall of a band that was really good in the 90s. And we just saw the name. We were actually sitting in a bar all drinking. I'm like, hey, these guys are coming to town. We went and bought tickets. And then we went to the show, and they had turned into really dour folk it was just like a really not a great show, and I felt kind of bad. I'm like, oh my god, I could barely sit through this. And all our friends joined us on a recommendation, and this one was the opposite. It was a pretty lively show, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and we enjoyed a lot.
All right, so welcome to the show. This is Mike and Blaine Business Beer and BS, and we just started off with a whole handful of BS.
Yes.
But hey, speaking of, what beer are you drinking today?
Today I've got Resident Culture, which I love this brewery. They got some really good beer, especially their IPAs are really good. This is a hazy IPA of some type, and it's called Turnstile. And it just kind of felt a little bit like the topic today, the innovator's trap, building genius, selling confusion, trying to do demos. And it just felt like that's Turnstile. It was a bit like it feels like you're going around and around trying to figure stuff out. And I don't know, it just seemed like apropos. So I thought I would grab it, but it's a delicious beer. I'm really enjoying it actually. So yeah, one of the good ones.
On. Well, I'm going to have a Neighbor Pat. One of my favorite, his brown ale, right? One of my favorite. Yeah,
nice.
Look at this. He's actually
that's a new label.
That's a new label. Look at this guy. He's really stepped it up. Look at the cap. Huh?
Oh,
he stepped
nice.
up the cap.
I like it. Yeah.
Now
that is a great label.
Now it's filled, I think, all the way up to the top of the cap. I mean, so it's filled all the way up.
Cow,
so,
yeah, that's right to the brim there. Okay, yeah, Pat, you got that one. Made up for all those ones that were down near the bottom.
Yeah, so the other one is filled up, and look, still almost all the way up. So he's like going, this is like providing value now, right? He goes, hey, give more than what they want. They expect 12 ounces. I'm going to give them 13. Right?
Give them the money's worth. Give them the money's worth.
But
nice.
The label stayed on. The label stayed on. The cap looks good. I haven't opened yet, and I should have brought in like a whole box of paper towels or something like that. I haven't opened it yet, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because you've had a couple runaways and they spilled everywhere. So I kind of want to watch you open that one. But I am impressed the label's staying on because Pat, though, you must have some new glue going on because it was not really sticking very good before. It's good work. Yeah, it looked great.
Yeah. So I don't have anything to complain about. Matter of fact, I miss Pat. I haven't seen him. Like his daughter is doing everything awesome, right? Think about this. Freshman in high school, she gets recruited for these sports. Recruited. She's starting varsity water polo, right?
Oh,
they're doing, awesome. She's so good. They're doing sizzle reels as a freshman at this water polo. Never played water polo before high school. They just, the water polo coach came over to the house for a swim pool party over the week, over the summer, and says, hey, I guess his daughter just threw a ball across the pool and said, hey, can you swim?
give him a bloody nose, and then he said, hey, you should be on the team. Nurse with the bloody nose.
So yeah, and she killed it, right? As a freshman, started almost all or played almost all the games, which is hard to do in water polo, right?
Oh, good.
And then
her.
She was in the marching band. So they competed like every weekend at football games and competitions, things like that. Now she just started wrestling, right? Water polo ends. Now she's doing wrestling as a freshman at the high school. This girl's amazing. And Pat, that's why I don't see him right now, because he is being super dad of an amazing high school scholar athlete.
You know, I gotta say to my parents, you're welcome. I wasn't playing anything, and I was playing hooky. That's all I played in high school was hooky. They didn't have to go and drive us nowhere. Yeah. We just kind of hung out at the mall. At the record shop, you know.
Yeah, well, I couldn't even play the radio right, so that's the extent of my skill.
Yeah, so, we could skateboard down the road and get into trouble. That was about it. But at least my parents didn't have to show up at rinks and pools and things. So you're welcome.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You just did it. So, all right. By the way, Larry's been kind of busy, I guess, lately, because he's just been dropping in and out of my meetings. I've talked to him just barely frequently. He used to text every day. He's not texting me, but Larry Weinstein, the cash flow cowboy, the best CPA in Houston, Texas. You need him if you need cash flow, if you need taxes, you need whatever it is. Contact Larry Weinstein down in Houston.
Thanks again, Larry. Really appreciate it. I just jumped off the screen if you're watching so I could cough. Still getting over a little cold here. Rachel Barnett from Gentle Frog. If you guys have a business, you need to know how to use QBO, go and check out her YouTube channel, YouTube at Gentle Frog. And, or you can go to gentlefrog.com and you can find out everything you need to know about QBO.
There you go. And then Karen Hairston, right? The best-selling author on Amazon at 3S Smart Consulting. She is a cash flow consultant up in Michigan, but she can help you anywhere, I'm telling you. So go check out her book. It's called Stop Growing Broke and Start Growing Profits. Go to Amazon and check it out now. Karen Hairston.
And Devin, he's one of our sponsors. Is already well into 2026 as a sponsor. Devin, the biggest LSU fan on the planet, who actually just a couple of weeks ago even connected with me on LinkedIn. So I got to get connected up with Devin. So thanks again, Devin. Appreciate it.
Are you speaking of the Netflix superstar, Devin?
The Netflix superstar. Yep.
Yeah, right on. Right on. Well, very cool. All right. So you mentioned the topic earlier. You mentioned it. It was called the Innovator's Trap. Build genius, sell confusion. I said something to somebody the other day. First of all, when we make up the topics, it's usually something I'm facing at the current moment, right? Something that's happening in my world. And this is me. This is what I'm thinking. Am I in the innovator's trap? Because I've got this belief, and you might think it's controversial. If you're an innovator out there, you're going to say, that's bullshit, Mike. But I think if your product needs a manual, you're not an innovator, you're a burden. That's my new thing, right? If you need a manual, you're not an innovator, you're a burden to your customers.
I think I would debate that. Depends what you're building.
Okay. Let's talk about just software.
Yeah. So, ease of use is important, but that's all in context as well, right? So if your software does something really sophisticated, now your user might completely understand it. Like for our users, and it continues to grow the levels of depth and control that our users demand. We can't keep it 100% just simple and intuitive, because the number one thing they need is that flexibility and control. Flexibility and control means there's a whole lot of little switches you can turn on and off. They know what they need to do. They know the concept. They know where they need to get to, but there's a lot of depth there. They're not necessarily going to know how to do it. What little button or setting do they have to flip on or off to get what they need? And so we don't actually have a manual, but we have a help site, and there's a lot of depth. So if you're talking about, there's a difference between, I don't know, a little consumer app on your phone and something that NASA is using to, have spaceships re-enter orbit or something, right?
Yeah. So here's what happened. Here's how I got to this point. First of all, that's just a philosophy I have. I want to try to do as much as I can without a manual, without a help section, without as much as I can, which means that the product is kind of intuitive. You're like, I kind of already get it. I already know what I should do, or there's enough visual clues for me to figure it out. Even when you get those, IKEA things, that 1, 2, 3, 4, and where things go. And, at least there's something there. I can kind of figure it out and just look at the manual for clarification. But if I need it from A to Z, then that's a whole new skill I have to learn. It's something I don't know anything about. So again, here's what happened. So over the last decade, I've been building this thing called the Clear Path to Cash. And here's what I found out. And I'm starting to think, well, maybe I know I have it right. I don't know that I have it right now. Here's what I mean by that. My competitors are out there saying, here's my spreadsheet, or here's my 1, 2, 3 step-by-step program. Just do this and do this and do this, and you'll be the best CFO or advisor on the planet. And when I look at what they've got, it has so many dead ends, which means if my client's problem doesn't fit on that spreadsheet because it's a debt problem and you don't even address debt, you just say you have too much debt, well, what do I do next? It puts the advisor in a bad, uncomfortable situation, which means You have too much debt. We need to reduce debt. Well, how do I help this person reduce debt? There's no next step. They always stop at, here's the warning bells, go fix that. And they expect the advisor to just know how to do it. And what I'm figuring out over the last 3 years, they don't know how to do it. They need help with that part. So that's the space I'm trying to fill, is taking somebody that's been a transactional accountant or an advisor and not only give them the tool to find the problem, but also the next tool to solve it. Now, the innovator's trap on that is that that's what I built. So I built a smartphone, and then I'm talking to people that just learned that there was a telephone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really where we're at. It's so early in this advisory thing that they just figured out, oh, yeah, telephone? Yeah, I just pick it up and call people. Well, what about all these widgets and apps and stuff like that are on my new app? Does that make sense? That's kind of a weird analogy.
Yeah, it does, but I think, like I said, context is context is everything. Of course, you try and make everything as simple and as straightforward as possible, but the more sophisticated the software, the device, the process, the whatever, the more you're going to have support. Yeah. The more you're going to have training.
I didn't catch that one word. Is like process or something. What does that mean?
So I haven't been south of the border long enough to process the change in my vocabulary.
No, I think you're right. I mean, when it gets complex, but that's the thing. There's an education gap right now in this industry where people can get to a certain point, but don't know how to get past it. And what it causes is imposter syndrome, right? Because all of a sudden you're like going, well, what do? I don't know how to solve this. So you have to kind of break contact with your client and go, hey, let's pick this up next week, and then go research it and figure it out and then come back. I'm shortcutting that break contact, go research it. It's right there in front of you, either with AI help or the actual hard-coded help built in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's some things you can't train your way out of though either, right? Like there's a mindset that your customers have to get past as well. There's some of the big things that they have to get past before they can get to the technology part, right? Like you said, they're the biggest problem. Well, imposter syndrome, you can't fix that with software very easily. Like there's there's experience and there's everything else that kind of goes with that, right? And yeah, it's where, that's going kind of off topic a little bit, but yeah, I kind of get what you're saying.
Well, I mean, not really, because one of the problems I was trying to solve in that realm was any new piece of software, you have to figure out where things are. And you don't want to have to learn in front of the client, right? Which is, God, where was that at? I know that tool's in here. You know exactly what you want, and you can't find it. And now you're struggling and searching around and clicking on the wrong things all over the app. So I was trying to build in all these next steps, all these little hidden things that only the advisor knows is a cheat sheet. They just click on it, and it opens the right next thing. Right? So it's just one click and you're in the next tool and you got something to talk about. So you never look, even if you don't know how to solve it right then, you can go to the tool and at least start having the conversation so it doesn't look like you're not the expert.
Yeah. It's still going to take reps. It's a metaphoric 10,000 hours thing, right? Like you still, you'll never engineer out everything. You can improve things a lot, but it still comes down to it takes practice. It takes reps. It takes experience to really make a lot of that sing the way you want it to, right? Like I think you're putting an expectation of perfection on yourself that you can't meet because you can't control the people that are looking at the software and working their way through. So do your best, but like if we're talking about how do you get past that, there's a combination, right? Like it's understanding the problem. It's your customers are expecting you to solve the problem, not them. But they have so many of the answers. So you need to be you need to get so much information out of your customers, and conversation, user testing, all that stuff all helps give you information so that you can make those trade-offs and figure out where can, like from dry room, we're always talking about like the stuff out front. Yeah, make it as easy and as intuitive as you can. But when you start getting into the more of the edge cases and the one-time setup things, and bury them further down, because you can't have everything in the top level. You have to look at the priorities and go, is it top level? Is it buried here, buried here, buried here? Because it has to make sense to the user, and you can't overwhelm them. If you put everything in the front, you're just going to overwhelm them, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And not only that, all right, so I built my product with 2 layers, right? There's a core engine, that is the math. That's the thing that I cannot let AI touch, right? It's just like, I won't let it do the core math.
It's really bad at math still.
It's still
Not
bad at
maybe
math.
all of them, but most of them seem to be pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know already that a lot of my techniques are not in the public domain. They're not in, I mean, they might be in bits and pieces, but what I've done is been able to cobble together a quilt of some bits and pieces to tell a more complete story across multiple ratios, or interpret things differently. Like I used the word frozen today during that presentation for liquid assets that are fixed, which is buildings and vehicles, things like that. I say, listen, this is where people get into trouble, is that they get too loaded in frozen assets. And not frozen as you can't get to it, but really you can't get to it because you got to go sell the building to get to it, right? So,
yeah.
And it was just little stuff like that. But here's what happened. All right, so the core stuff has to be there. Now, because everybody's trying to layer in AI, I'm trying to layer in the AI level to augment, to accelerate. It's not to replace insights. It's not to replace you. It's to accelerate you getting to the right answer faster. Does that make sense? Well, during this beta test, during the beta test, that's where everybody focuses. I said, I need you to test to make sure the math is right. And you're worried about the language. One of the things that came in from feedback was, I don't like the tone that the AI used for, whatever answer. I'm like, okay. You don't like the AI's tone? Okay, so, then I got to train the tone to be more empathetic. That was the word that the feedback came in is, it needs to be more empathetic instead of more direct. So I'm like, okay, I get it. I mean, but did the math work? Was the answer right?
Yeah. That sounds like, to be completely honest, that sounds like someone that's looking for something to say and they don't have anything to say. Right. Like, uncomfortable with the actual main solution you've developed, the main problem you solve. It's and finding little tidbits here and there just to be able to say something.
Yeah. Well, here's another part, right? So I added a transcription service where you can kind of record your conversation to help you find the burning issue, right? Which is the biggest problem that's on that person's heart. Because I noticed that some business owners aren't sophisticated enough to really say what the real problem is. They'll talk either around it or don't know how to describe it in terms that the financial analysis or analyst understands. So I've trained an AI agent to read my book, right? Don't tell me what to do. And I trained it to how to interpret the language and put it into one of those buckets, right? And when these type of problems end up in this type of place. Well, instead of being wowed by the fact that it was working, like, oh my God, it got the exact right answer every time. The complaint was the speed of the transcription was slow. Right? Like, God, what? So that's what I'm saying. I may have built something that was genius, but it's just or maybe it was overbuilt because now there's too many tools, because now they can click on all kinds of things and it goes right to the next thing. So they get distracted really easily with all the options. And what happens when you have too many options is you get kind of frozen, and then you're not thinking about what it's really trying to do. you give me 2 more options on top of the ones that you already have. So I call everybody 2 mores, which is everybody I talk to always gives me 2 more features that need to be in this app to make it perfect. And if I talk to 10 people, there's 20 more features because everybody has 2 more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It starts to bring up bigger questions, right? It starts to bring up, are they the right people? Are they the right stage?
That's interesting. It's interesting. Well, here's what I liked about ChatGPT, right? And I go back to that because I'm like going, that's one of the most, when you and I first started talking about it, like 3 years ago, 4 years, early on in this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I was amazed by what was under the hood. What was under the hood was probably the biggest technological breakthrough that we'd ever seen, in the computing industry. Because it can grab data like crazy and make sense of it in seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you looked at it back then, and even still today, it's just a plain ass text box. That's all it is. Your user interface is just, hey, what is it? And then it kind of acts like a conversation thread. There's not a lot on the front end. It is all in the back end. And I'm going, damn, why didn't I pick up on that sooner? And this is just something I figured out this week. I'm like going, that was genius because now everybody can use it and not feel overwhelmed by it. Maybe a little bit, like scared. But if you can learn how to type a sentence or a question in, you can use it. It was fantastic to get people comfortable with AI.
Yeah. I understand, but the bar was set pretty low for what they're doing. Like, in other words, you can put in a question. There's not a whole lot you have to do or can do with it. You can write in a question and off it goes. I'm taking all of that with a pretty big grain of salt because we've all seen that it feels to me a little bit like a 50-50. Like it does a pretty good job, but it's garbage in, garbage out. So large language models are scouring the internet and grabbing information and just kind of making it into a little cesspool of data and then delivering something back. And some stuff it's really good at. And I think some stuff it's maybe not. It just can sound really smart when sometimes it could be completely wrong. I think it's got a little ways to go, right? To see where it ends
You were
up.
watching me?
I'm waiting to see if that beer's gonna blow up all over
Dude,
me.
look at that. It is all the way up to the cap.
Jeez.
It did.
It's a good thing that one didn't overload on you because it would have been everywhere.
For like 10 minutes, the way the other one did.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So here's the thing. We don't know what they're doing in the back. You don't know. Nobody at Harvard knew what was happening with their data from Facebook or the Facebook or whatever it is. Nobody knew that it would become the advertising engine that it did. There was a point in time when Mark Zuckerberg knew that he didn't let anybody else outside the circle know that they were doing this. So we're not a social media company. We are a data company, right? That they had made that change way before the public even knew that. Why? Because they were building the product.
Yeah.
So we don't know what ChatGPT or some of these other ones are doing. Right, because what's the old adage? If the product's free or whatever, then you're the product.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't agree with that, I guess, but
no. I just there's a lot of layers to this, but I guess the thing that I'm thinking, like AI is really. It's evolving fast and it's doing some amazing things and it still has to deal with people. And I think the smartest AI people on the planet think that AI is going to take over everyone's job in the next like 6 months. And I think what they're missing is human nature and how people respond to things. And people are going to have the biggest impact on how AI evolves more than engineers. Like, I'll give you a good example. If you like you're the people you're coaching, why do they even come to you then? Why don't they just go to ChatGPT and say, well, I'll just ask it what I need to know before when I go into a meeting?
Yeah, you're right. So I tell you what, if you want to come to my coaching, that was a good segue, by the way. That was probably the best one because I'm like, holy shit, you stumped me.
There you go.
And maybe it wasn't one. See, you weren't even trying to do a segue.
No, but it turned out to be probably my best one.
It was your best one because I made it into a segue for you. But anyway,
Yep,
I mean,
you're
here's the reason why I think. Here's the reason why I think is that when you look at data or when you listen to AI describe what they're seeing, a lot of times it's inaccurate or infactual. I gave it a debt schedule the other day, saying, "Hell, give me a summary of how we could refinance or consolidate some of this debt." And it came up with first of all, the current situation was $185,000 a month in payments that are debt payments for this company. And its initial thing, reading the debt schedule that says that, it said that their minimum monthly payments were $45,000 a month. Right there, I can't trust anything else in the entire plan that it built for me because it missed the very first thing, which is what is the minimum amount that I have to pay? Now, that's one of the reasons why you work with a guy like Cashflow Mike is because we have a tool that actually allows you to fix that on the fly. And I've already looked at it in a way that helps you understand from several different points of verification, right? It's just like a bank. There are 3 points of verification to every loan application you've ever done. The reason why they ask you for a tax return and your financial statements and your bank statements is because you might be able to fudge one of those, but you can't fudge all 3, right? You can't lie on the tax return and the bank statement and the financial statements all at once. You'll always get caught, right? So that's what I'm teaching people to do is operate as if AI doesn't exist. Because if you build the engine like I have, if you build the engine, it can operate without AI. If you build it with AI and there's a problem with AI, you have nothing to fall back on. So at Cashflow Mike, we have the methodology. It's been proven over a decade called the Clear Path to Cash, and it teaches you the basics. So even in the absence of AI, you still have a skill that you can impart to your clients. So come check out me at cashflowmike.com.
I'm going to dig into that a little bit. I'm going to go a little further there.
That was a commercial, man. Don't be digging in a commercial. That was commercial.
But this is relevant to what we've been talking about is like in your situation, people don't know what to ask. Right? You have a text field. They don't even know what to ask.
That's true.
And then they could say to AI, what should I ask? Well, then it's a homogenized list of stuff you could ask, right? And then if they use that list and they start asking their client, AI is not going to necessarily pick up on the most important parts of that conversation. I've had this before. I can tell you a great example because I have, I love AI. It does some great stuff. We record our meetings, demos with potential customers, meetings with customers, and we can have it take the transcription and write out meeting notes, and it does a really good job of that. But you know where it falls really flat? Like it's good at kind of going, I'll summarize this and kind of pick out the main points. The main points might not be the most important point. And so here's an example. We've gone into meetings before, and let's say it's with a potential customer, and you're trying to find out like, okay, well, how do we help you where's the biggest problem you guys have? And sometimes there's a partial sentence that unlocks the entire thing. And I can guarantee you a lot of times AI is going to miss that. Because it might be something like, and Larry needs to see this like every week. Who's Larry? Oh, he's the CEO. Or like, it's not even that obvious. But you sometimes get this one little tweak, and after the meeting, it's like, that's the problem we got to solve. That it was barely mentioned. It was this little in passing. That's the problem we have to solve. This is the person that ultimately needs this information or whatever it is. It's not talked about. It's not dwelled on. It can be in context of a sentence where it's not even overly explicit. And you can see it and go, that's the whole thing right there. A person can pick up the subtext. And that's the same thing if you're talking with a business owner. So what's going on in your business? Well, there's this and this and this and this. And then some little, at the end of some sentence, something sneaks out and you go, that's the problem. They don't even know how to communicate necessarily. And you have to be able to pick that up. A robot's good at some stuff. It's not necessarily good at picking up that human to human communication where there's this subtext, and sometimes the subtext is more important than the text.
Oh, yeah. So I've got the opposite thing that just happened, right? So I'm using this new transcription service. And I had to do it because I was cheap and I tried. Remember that people thought the transcription took too long. It was lag. So now I got real-time transcription. As you talk, it types right in front of you. And I did it just because some people were having problems finding the burning issue, listening to the subtext like you're talking about. And I'm like, I wonder if I could train somebody to do that or train an AI to do that. So I just let it run for just a basic conversation like this. And I talked about how the transcription service, was one of the things that people had complained about because it took too long, and that and then I went on the whole thing about how I tried one service and it would batch it, and then after you press save, then it would transcribe it, and then I talked about how I was too cheap. I had just started talking like you and I are talking. I was too cheap because, even though you have to give the browser permission, it doesn't matter what tab you select or whatever, because I don't record video, because there's no reason to record video. We're only trying to figure out the subcontext of the conversation. So there's no reason to do that. So you have to do it because the browser wants permission when I'm on Zoom call like this. You've seen that pop up. It says, do you grant, or what tab do you want to share if you're trying to share? Well, you are sharing, if you do the live transcription service for AI, it's going to want to, especially if we want to record this, it's going to want some permission to the browser, right? So it's going to ask you, what do you want to do? Well, it doesn't matter because it doesn't record video. So it doesn't matter if you share a screen, but it still wants the browser wants you to do the screen and the audio as a complete permission. I can't get around that. So anyway, there was like 5 minutes of conversation about this. I just recorded. And then I said, analyze with AI. And it says, oh, you have an operations problem. Click here to, do your process optimization. Mm-hmm. And it gave me the proof points. And when I said, oh, Mike was cheap, it said that right in there. Mike is cheap. There's no need to record video. There was 3 or 4 different points that it pulled out of there. When I was talking about the entire thing about doing transcription with AI, it pulled out the exact problem and ignored the rest. It ignored the rest because this is your problem. Start working here. I'm like going, all right, dude, I'm in. This transcription service gets it, because when it's trained on my process about finding the subtext and finding the problem.
Yeah, I still think I would go back to the very beginning. I still have trouble understanding why your customers, why do they need a faster transcription?
Because of it was me. All right. So first of all, I should have done like Canva, right? You remember Canva? Canva starts to introduce like one feature at a time with the AI. I didn't do that. I put it everywhere, and it's almost instant everywhere, except for when you're trying to have a conversation. What I built was a way to just listen to people, and you click on kind of keywords that you hear them say, right? What are they talking about? You just click on some keywords. There's a whole library like right there in front of you. You wouldn't see it if I'm talking to you, and you wouldn't see if I'm clicking it, but I'm clicking it and it's making a list. So that's the way it was originally. And then people were saying, oh, we need more keywords in this. And all of a sudden, the library of keywords became 75 strong. And now all of a sudden, I need a search feature to find the keyword. I'm like, dude, we should just record and transcribe.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was that people would press a button trying to get to the burning issue, to the actual thing, to the analysis of the conversation, and they had to wait. They had to wait because there was a lag between you talking and it transcribing it and then analyzing it.
Yeah. So there's a reason there is an immediacy, because typically with the transcription, there isn't like, it doesn't have to be live. There's not, but with what you're talking about, okay, there's an immediacy. They do need to be able to basically click things as people are talking. So that helps make sense then of it. Yeah.
Well, now you don't have to click, right? You just listen and it types it out for you word for word. As you're talking, Blaine, it would talk. Now, here's what was happening when we did just a test. We would have a conversation, and before I knew what to ask you next, there would be a lag because I'd have to wait for the analysis to go. And then I have to fill like 15 seconds of time. 15 seconds doesn't seem like a lot until you wait 15 seconds in a conversation that you're supposed to be just like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there was a need to make the conversation seem seamless, even though I'm being coached off to the side because I don't understand how to really ask the right questions or find the right tool for you next. I'm being coached, with AI in real time during an actual conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah.
And the thing about that is it's only designed to be a crutch until you get the reps in. There's a point in time where you don't need to do that because you get it now, right? You've done it 150 times. You're like, okay, I'm starting to get the feel for this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Does it? But anyway, one of the big traps I think people fall into is overcomplicating the product up front, and that's where I think I did, because I've had to reiterate for the last 3 months just on simplification. And how do I display something where you instantly know what you should do or what the next step is without giving you a bunch of text or without clogging up the real estate that's on the screen?
Well, I think the answer to that is simple is hard. Simple is incredibly hard.
Absolutely.
It's to the idea that you could start something incredibly simple and nail it, like, hit it out of the park, is really unlikely. It's more get to your MVP, test the hell out of it, and then figure out how to simplify it, because simplification is so hard. Because even if you try and simplify it, it doesn't mean it translates to your users. Users are so unpredictable, how they behave, what they do, not just even one at a time, but then across an entire sort of group, what happens and where do you find those trends and everything? It's a process.
I am so grateful for my community who will jump on a call, just like before this at 2:00 today. 6 people jump on a call and they're willing to just go through it with their own data and just show me what they do. I get so much out of, I didn't expect them to click that area first before this. You know what I mean? It's just little things like that. They wouldn't even notice. I took notes of things that they wouldn't even know just so I could improve the user experience.
Yeah. User testing and user feedback. It's absolute gold. That's the most important thing to a company that's developing anything. You have your idea, you have your overall solution. But boy, you need feedback from your potential customers or from your existing customers, whoever it is. to validate both some of the big picture stuff, but especially so when you start getting down to the details, it's just it's gold. And I think sometimes it's easy to fall into the trap as a startup or as an innovator to lean too far into your side. I'm going to make this perfect tool, and then they're just going to have to use it the way that we present it. No, you need so much feedback. So it's pretty awesome that you have that.
Yeah. So the other thing I think I failed at, right, and I think what I'm giving people right now when I said overwhelming, different parts. The other thing think I failed at was assuming people were ready. They're using spreadsheets and stuff like that. I just assume that they're ready for the next step. When
Yep.
in reality, right, I look now, I got that client in Utah. I mean, I look now and I see what I built him as a 13-week, just short-term like cash flow thing, and what he was using before that he was super comfortable with. Like we are degrees off, and there is a learning curve for him that I didn't anticipate, because I just thought it was the same things. He wasn't using the same things. He was using a whole different set of data and metrics to just understand cash coming in, cash coming out. Now, to him, it made sense. To me, I'm like, you're missing some key points that are in the other ones that make mine more complex. And now I'm thinking, well, did I have to make it that complex? Did I have to make it, more than what he really expected? And the answer is probably no.
Yeah, it all comes down to the client. It all comes down to the customer and solving their problem, and ultimately they make the decision, right?
Yeah. I think ultimately it's just like when we built Cashflow Tool. I told you that it was too complex for folks. It was too much there. There was too many things to do. And we overcorrected in our first dashboard, the Finograph dashboard. People would tell us there's not enough things to do. It was like, because we thought we would just do it all for you and give you the answer. And then you can go do whatever else, right? And not waste any time in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So we gave people things to do, and then we overcorrected and gave them too much things to do. And then I'm still in that same pattern today. I didn't learn shit from back then. That's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, we had a bit of the opposite experience though, as we moved up market and we're talking with, primarily CFOs and controllers, mid-market businesses. When I'm doing a demo, this is what I hear the most. Oh, yep, good, yep, do it all the time. Yep. They're speeding me forward. They're getting me to rush through stuff. And then I get to the end of this rush demo and they'll ask some question. Hey, can I set that to say this and do that and do? Yeah, you can. This group picks it up, where before it was a different group and it was a completely different approach. These users jump 5 steps forward. They're way ahead of me. They're like, yeah, this looks great, but they're way ahead of me on. They've got that question like in the hopper already, like in the chamber, like here it comes, and then when they ask it, I'm like, okay, well, tell me a bit about that. Tell me about, so I can understand what they're looking for. But it's such a different group. Right. So it's changed what we have to do and the way we have to serve them, because it's understanding their problem and coming up with a solution. It isn't complex for them, right? It's so simple for them, but they have to figure out how to drive it, what buttons to push and everything. It's such a flip side that it's been a really interesting experience for us to deal with this other group. And it's like going from a weekend warrior to an Olympic athlete. They're just a different level of knowledge, and we're not, we're building a great tool, but they know infinitely more about finance and forecasting than I ever will.
Do you find yourself adding features for them?
Yeah, sometimes we do, for sure. But the thing is we need to understand the problem. And once we understand the problem, and we understand what they're looking for, then we can understand how it fits the entire market. And then we can look at it and go, yeah, that makes sense. It's going to help this entire class of business, or it'll help this entire vertical. I get it. It makes sense. They can even show me in their spreadsheets how they do it, why they do it the way they do it. That information is absolute gold, because it lands us deals and opens the door wide open for us, right? To be able to expand who we can serve.
Yeah. Well, I think if I had to do it all over again, there's a couple things I'd do differently, right now. And now it's kind of there and it's, almost ready for production. But one would be I would have started with just one killer feature, right? Yeah, I mean, you can call it MVP, but it's not, I think even before that. And then what I would have done was just wrap AI over the top of it, right? Meaning you still got I still like the 2-layer approach. I got the core engine that I can always count on, and AI kind of interprets from that engine. And I wouldn't have used words like large language model or natural language processing, or I probably wouldn't even use AI. I think that there's something weird that happens with people when they hear that. You call it like smart suggestions or Mike's recommendations, or you do something like that instead to get people used to the feature where it's just part of that workflow and they don't understand. I won't say understand, that's the wrong word. They're not as afraid or as critical of what's happening.
It's easy to think that and think that it would smooth things out. And having, you've been in this a long time too. If you took that path, it would just be just as hard. It would just be a different set.
I think it would be a longer road, right? Because
how come I can't do that? How come I can't do this? How come it's a different set of complaints, right? But I still, just from our experience with, and it doesn't necessarily relate to anybody else, right? But the experience I've had so many times was, what people say is not necessarily it's not even what they mean. It's not the actual problem sometimes. Right. Sometimes people just talk to fill the space. You ask them a question, they want to give you an answer. Doesn't necessarily mean sometimes you just can't take it at face value. And sometimes it's absolute gold. And it's up to you to just decipher which is which, right? Which is noise and which is gold.
Well, and the thing I did this time that I didn't do last time is I built with them, not for them. Big difference, right? 'Cause when you're building it, you're like, I think this is what they need, and I build it for you to use. And this time I let them kind of guide the roadmap, mostly. It had to have the stuff in my books or it doesn't make sense for me to build it. Right? So on top of that, where it goes next, I kind of let the pack kind of lead me.
Yeah. Yeah. We essentially moved to we've got this nugget of an approach that we've had, but over the last, at least, a couple of years here, especially the last year in particular, the customer feedback, user feedback, it's the guiding principle for everything. It's just, the more feedback, the more conversations I can have, the better. It's like it shines a path forward.
All right. So, hey, next week, on Thursday, I'll be travel day. I'm going to go up to Seattle, see my daughter and granddaughter, granddaughters. I got 2 of them up there, so I better go see both of them, not just one of them. And so recording wise, I mean, we may have to, do it on Wednesday.
Might have to juggle a day. I'll look at the calendar. We'll come up with something. If not, we'll just put our Instagram clip that's getting all the views. We'll just put it on a repeat.
Dude, can you believe it? We're like 650,000 or something like that now. Is that right? Let me look real quick.
It's amazing what people find interesting. Must have been
And
an off
only
day.
about every 10 do people think you're an idiot. Only like every 10.
That's a new record, man. That's we don't even get that through this episode, so I'll take that every time, man.
Let's see here. How many are on there? Where's that at? God, it was so long ago now. I think it was this one. Oh, yeah, I think it's this one. And view insights. I want to give Blaine a pat on the back. There's been 20,000 likes on this thing, 1,240 comments, 1,200 comments. Oh, 723,000 views.
Jeez, I wonder if it'll keep going and make it over the million mark. It's crawling at this point, but maybe over time it'll get over the old million mark.
Can you believe that?
1,200 comments, and if 1 out of 10 call me stupid, I have about 130 year stupids. That's all right.
You know what's funny is, here's how bad it is. We're watching some reality TV show yesterday, and the girl on there, which is an influencer, she goes, "Yeah, I got 500,000 views on that video." I'm like, Blaine got that. Blaine got that. I said, I got that. It's on my account. I got that, and all I did was say, "Tell me more."
And you know what? It's the only one we'll probably ever get that's over 5 people that are all family liking it. So yeah.
Can you believe it? 723,000. We're like what? 275,000 from a million.
From a million, yeah. Well, if it just keeps chipping away, like a year from now, maybe it'll keep going and trickling along and get us over the million mark. That'd be all right.
What are we going to do when it gets a million?
Okay. If we hit a million, the next episode is whiskey episode.
There you go. The whiskey episode. It's the 1,000,000th whiskey episode.
The 1,000,000th whiskey episode. I'm down with that. And
you go.
We'll probably change a week from now and go, "Hey, it's a 750,000 whiskey episode." So we can try and sneak a whiskey in.
Yeah, because it'll be done. It'll be, plus it'll slow down to nothing. Like, actually, that last time I looked at it was like almost 600,000. I thought, it's a little over 600,000. No, there was 125,000 since then. There's almost 500,000 unique accounts, which is strange, right? That means
crazy.
Somebody's, that means some of them people watched it more than once, I guess.
Yeah. The ones that are complaining about me, probably.
Yeah. Like, is this idiot still going?
Is this guy still going? With a stupid comment.
Yeah. So, all right, buddy. Hey, number 217. This is the end of season 5. We start season 6, January 2026.
Yes. Season 6, even though we started, I don't know, partway through the year. So it's season 4.5 probably right now. But
well, okay. So yeah, during COVID, during COVID, 2020, we did a half-year season.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Right. That was all.
That's why the beard. No, it's COVID belly and beard all at one time. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why it probably seems a little off, but we did full years, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, maybe.
Yeah.
That didn't seem right.
26 is going to be our biggest year. So if you guys want to sponsor, go to mikeandblaine.com, message us there, connect with us on LinkedIn, connect us on Facebook, ask us, "Hey, I want to sponsor. I want to buy you guys beer." But you can go right to mikeandblaine.com, buy us beer, and we will mention you every episode. It's $5 a beer. You'll never get that kind of deal. It's like happy hour prices right there.
Yeah. Go like, subscribe, share, tell 3 friends, right? Tell 3 friends. Tell 3 friends to go watch that video.
Yeah.
And share it with their 3 friends.
Or tell 2 friends and somebody you don't like. We're okay with that too.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.